All right, then let's go ahead and get this meeting started then. And Joel, I'll let you you take over with your guest and which one you want to start with first.
Sure. So, well, let's start from I guess do we need to approve the July 22nd agenda?
Move to approve. I'm sorry, I missed that. Item number 0.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
All right, let's talk about item number 1, 21 Lost Fork. Excuse me. So this is the I think the first time so originally we looked at this exceeded the property coverage rules. And we had originally, I think we didn't have time to look at it, so we deferred it right away. Noted that, hey, property coverage rules aren't there, open space is there. We set back a bunch of comments, and then we did receive the revisions late going into our last meeting, and so we didn't have time to really look through all of it. Now that we've had some time and go through the questions, and you've had time to review it, Vitali's here. We're still beyond the property coverage and the open space rules. So there is a variance in for that. Another thing that's happened here is I think we asked one of the comments was to ask to raise the elevations to fix police show elevation views, and talking about having the wall heights taper down to try to create slopes that are not steeper than 2 to 1. They raised the house, and now the driveway is steeper, so that now they would need a variance for the driveway. So we have a few things and Vitaly is prepared to offer to remove the eaves on the house in order to get under those property coverage rules.
How are you going to remove the eaves off the house?
It can happen. I've seen a lot of homes with them.
Just on the sides and the back, and I think that will get us to about 34%, 34 point something percent.
Still have, I think, too much on the lot coverage, but an eaveless house is
Awkward.
not a good idea, and then is ugly, and especially if it's big and boxy like this. I'm not a fan of that at all. I'd much rather see the footprint more reasonable, not using up so much of the lot, leaving a little more room for.
I have no problem making the house smaller. I am doing this given the time restraint. I'm not able to pull this off and start building. The only way I can see around it is if I can get a conditional approval and then work through everything. But I'm just not able to change the plans,
I personally, I think if you want to, submit things with problems, you want to submit a lot earlier in the season.
Well, so again, not to make excuses, it seems like that's what I'm doing, but a lot of this was me not expecting this year to be like this because I'm used to something else from years in the past. But another thing was I tried submitting a lot of my properties early in the year, and I wasn't able to because of all the change in the office, and they made a mistake that wasn't right with my insurance, and they wouldn't let me submit to the ACC for about 2 months until they realized that everything was just fine. So I would have liked to have all this submitted and taken care of way earlier, and I'm scrambling, and that 2 months really screwed me up, and it was an office mistake. And then we waited. There was changes in employment, and Joe got on board. So all that kind of snowballed. I agree with you guys. This should have been done right, should have been done right 3 months ago. With everything that's going on, I'm scrambling, making the best out of it.
So given those 2 months that you were held up, why didn't you make the house fit the lot?
Well, I never thought that would be a issue. Again, not making excuses, but from years before, I'm used to submitting something and the ACC comes back, oh, just fill out this form for a variance. And I've always been used to getting variances for height, for lot coverage when it's this close. I mean, if it's off by a lot, yes, but when if it's 1, 2, 3%, I've never had issues. If I would have known that, and again, I'm not making excuses, just kind of what I'm used to from doing this for many years. I would have never drawn up this house. And even as we speak, I've gone to my architect many times to make these corrections. And every time he comes back, says I can do my best, but I don't know when I'll be able to get this back to you. And so I'm having to make a lot of these corrections and changes without having access to CAD. And so not a good reason or excuse, but I'm making the best with what I can. Like I said, if I can get conditional approval, I will make all the necessary changes before I even start building anything. I mean, I just want to clear the lot and get,
Didn't we
that's,
give you 2 conditional approvals last week?
yep.
I
And
personally,
I'm working on both of those properties to fix everything that you guys talked about. And I'm hopefully real soon here, I will submit new plans that show all the changes made, everything we talked about on those two. And essentially, I mean, I got no choice but to ask for the same thing here. They're drawn up the way they were a while back. I got all the feedback just recent in the last week or two, and I'm making all the changes. Some of them are quick, some of them not so much. The open space is not that easy to change the whole house. Like I said, my solution is cut the eaves on the side and the back. There are homes in Sun Valley like that. I don't love the look of it, but it fixes that problem. And if I can't get the variance, then that's my plan B, that fixes and takes care of that problem.
you also need to make sure that your what you end up with fits the stormwater designer calculations.
It does.
Um,
So the
It,
stormwater calculations fit with the house being bigger. So if we're making it smaller, and even with the house being
So-
bigger, I still had room for more.
2273 square feet is what this shows, which is a lot smaller than the house. And no deck.
Yes, so the original stormwater was, the site plan wasn't for the stormwater engineer and to approve or to design the system. It was more to show where the house sits and where the drains and the
I have
system
seen
is.
their calculation spreadsheet, and the square footage is what determines the design.
The plans that you see, the final plans with the final site plan, are the ones that were approved by county. Belinda was the one working on this, and she looked through all the final ones, and they don't sign off until they go through the whole packet with all the changes that have been made since the original site plan was submitted. And so the house, the way it's drawn up, the bigger version, that's what is on the original plans, or not the original, the latest submitted plans, and that's what's been approved. Next to the site plan, that the stormwater that you had up there and the recorded version, that is not used for the stormwater. That is more for just for anybody to know where the system is and not so much the lot coverage. I have the stormwater report that aligns with this house, and like I said, it's been approved by
Can we see
county.
it? Can we see it? Has it also been stamped by the engineer?
Is it what? Sorry.
Has the new square footages been stamped by the engineer?
Yeah, so the I can send you a file, or I can send Joe a file that I got from county. It's all digital that says it's been approved and ready, permits are ready to be issued.
It
So
needs
it's
to
been
be approved also by ACC, not just by the county, because it bears his their engineer stamp.
Well, yeah,
That's their job, their work.
yeah. So ACS is the one that's stamped, submitted to county, and then county approved. Yes, and I
I would like
have
to
that.
see their stamp.
I can submit all of that to you guys to show that stormwater, everything works just the way it should be, and it's all approved by both stormwater engineer who designed the system, Aaron Russell, and then also Belinda at Whatcom County Planning.
Yeah, I think ACC would like to see that, especially if it's different from this original one. If you haven't updated.
Yeah, easy.
Okay.
I'm trying to find there now. As soon as I do, I'll email that over to you, Joe.
Let's see, what are other?
My problem
Yeah,
is
Bruce.
that we've got a house with multiple variances again. I mean, I can usually go with one variance if there's extenuating circumstance, but I don't see the extenuating circumstance here. It's just too large of a house for the lot. And I know we're trying to make it fit, but I really don't like, a variance to me is something that comes when there's an extenuating circumstance, like a wetland or something that needs to be avoided. When the county forcing you to change the plan. So this, I'm uncomfortable with this one. Sorry.
You're comfortable with what, Bruce?
I'm uncomfortable with this one. We've got multiple variances and stuff. Usually, to me, a variance is something that is
Yes.
done to avoid because of an extenuating circumstance, like the county making you move something away from something. This is
Yeah.
just because the house is too large for the lot. And going in with a eaveless house, I don't think is a good idea either. I think we would be much better all the way around if it was, if it just got punted and made to fit the lot.
Hey,
Yeah.
Joel, we have another house from this contractor to review today as well.
No, not from Vitali.
This is the last one with issues.
We had 2 last week.
And this lot is scary steep. In the back half, I looked at the survey contours and it's 80% slope. On my site visit, I ended up actually getting back there to the back where along the lot line between the house that's there already, 23 in here. And, I think that big tree there on the lot line is why that area is stable. When that tree dies or has to be cut down, I wonder what'll happen. To me, you need a lot more care on the retaining walls, to not disturb root zones of important trees like that 26-inch fir. The 24-inch cedar, maybe we can't remove that without harming the 26-inch fir. I just think that this lot is super vulnerable to problems from disturbing it. And so I really don't like doing anything in a rush, not seeing all the problems addressed and approving it. I'm sorry if this means you can't build it this year. I really, really feel uncomfortable with this
Yeah.
whole lot.
I have to agree with Bruce and Karen.
All right, anyone want to make a motion?
As far as the retaining walls, the trees, the stormwater, the topography, the houses around, I mean, I've gone through over a year of several engineers and county and reports and soils test, stormwater, geo. I mean, everybody's looked at this and said, here are your permits you can build. And we're going to have these several inspectors out there to make sure that it gets built in a way that doesn't affect and there's no danger and everything is good. So all of those things, maybe you guys are uncomfortable with, but we got professionals with a stamp, with reports that all agree that yes, you can build. And although very difficult lot, very it's not unusual in our area, especially with the lots that are being built right now. As far as the variances, yes, my lot is a few percentages, or the house is a few percentage too big. Again, I can fix that. I just can't fix it in a week. So I can take care of the variance, or I can lose the eaves, which would allow me to build the house. Having a house with no eaves, although not aesthetically the best, is a thing that is in Sun Valley. There are houses like this in Sun Valley with no eaves, and I'm just saying the sides and the back, which the back nobody's going to see, the sides barely, and that's just my solution. And it can be a temporary solution. I can come back to you guys in 2-3 weeks. It will just allow me to start foundation and whatnot, not have a variance, and it'll give me some time, and I can come back to you guys in a week, a month, whenever I can redraw it. The foundation doesn't change and say, hey, I've made my house smaller, it fits, and we got, maybe not 18-inch eaves, 16. So that takes care of that problem. It's just a timing thing. So I'm not asking for, please let me build this humongous house on this dangerous lot. No, I've gone through all this over a year, and I've invested a lot of money and people on schedule to be able to build this house. And I did everything the way that I'm used to doing, that has always been approved. And, even with these difficult lots, like I said, I'm repeating myself, but I have 3 or 4 separate engineers look at all of this, and county approves it, and permits are ready to be issued. And
Look,
I mean, it's just 2 things that I can take care of very easily. I
you
just
have a
can't do it in a week.
33% driveway slope here, which is in the category of really, really bad. And I also, I have to say this is a little bit personal, and I'm sorry, I don't like to bring this up, but you did some things last fall at one of your other sites that caused me to not trust what you will do in the future. That dirt that you pushed around at 16 Gray Birch Lane, that was a really bad thing you did. You're killing 12 or 13 trees, they'll slowly die. Sun Valley will have to pay to cut them down when it becomes obvious to people that they're dead. You didn't, run that by us first. Just did it.
Well, okay, that brings up a whole lot of other things, because I've never heard about anything 16 Gray Birch. It's been finalized out, and all the inspections I've had, both Sun Valley and county, this is the first time hearing. If this is something personal that's preventing me to build this house from a year ago, I can't put, that's not a thing. If it's something that I've done that I shouldn't have done, cool, let's address it. I'll fix it. I'm not trying to get away with just building crap and making everything bad for other people. I am willing and more than able to learn and adjust and do things differently, as I have in Sun Valley in the last 12 years, because I can bring up story after story where Sun Valley, previous GMs and other people screwed me over. And there was, some of it was honest mistakes. Some of it was just, people trying to do whatever they want to do. I can also bring up stories where I saved Sun Valley from multiple lawsuits with other builders. So I'm willing to learn and change things. And, if I can get approval for my lots with conditions, and I'll come back and address all the issues. I just can't do it in a week. And if somebody's saying, well, not our problem, you can't do it in a timely fashion, well, I'll go back to saying, I tried to do it in a timely fashion. I was prevented to do that. I don't want to bring all that up, but adding another layer to all of this that prevents me from getting approval, something that's personal on another project, I mean, that definitely complicates things. My goal is not to get in Sun Valley, build crappy houses, get out. I've lived in here in Sun Valley
Don't
for
think your
10
houses,
years.
your houses are bad. It's just what you do to the land or did to the land there. Make me worry about a lot like this.
Well, I'm not really sure if what I did was actually me personally doing it, because I had an excavation company out there, and I'm not quite sure what was done that was wrong, because this is the first time I'm hearing it, so I can't even really respond, because we had 2 separate excavation guys out there. So again, I'm not really sure. I myself am not a tree guy, excavation guy. I do certain things myself, but I'm not the one doing every single. And like I said, if there's something that's not right, I'm willing to fix it. Even as we had our final last week, I was told about 2 or 3 trees that were scratched. I was never told anything about any other 13 trees being damaged and dying because of what I did. Again, that aside, I've built a few homes in Sun Valley. I've been involved with ACC for 10 years. Things change all the time. There's been 3 GMs, different ACC coordinators. I'm going along with whatever, and every single time I've learned, I've changed things. I've changed my houses. I want to build good homes that don't impact the environment. That's why with all these, like I said, I have, 2 different geologists, soils test, and I have all these reports, stormwater approved by county, which they're not easy to. They don't just approve things. That's, takes a year plus to do that. I've done all of that. And now looking at it and just saying, well, this is a very difficult site and this house shouldn't be here. Sorry. I mean, that's a hard pill to swallow, because I got a lot of money invested into this. I have a lot of people calling me every day saying, hey, when are we breaking ground? And I don't want to force you guys to do it, but I'm also not able to just say, okay, well, I guess they're not comfortable, so I'm out.
Vitaly, let me ask you, are you going to be able to address this driveway slope?
Yes, anything and everything I will fix to make you guys 100% happy before I even form up or do anything. I just need a week or 2 or 3 with my architect. I will address every single issue, like I said, to be exactly what you guys want to see.
Yeah, let's stay on track. I think, I think if you can address the issues about lot coverage, driveway,
retaining walls has
footprint,
already been fixed.
Right.
That was a big one. My architect spent a week messing with it. I talked to him last night. He said, I'm in the final stages, but it's been fixed. I talked to him about driveway. I just found out about the driveway last night. He's like, no problem. I'll take care of it. And then the lot coverage.
The driveway to go up 5 feet.
Well, so I'm not really good at this. He raised the house. He has a program that's all computerized, and I talked to him many times and he's drawn up housing in Valley. He knows you can't exceed 25. And so last night I talked to him, he's like, I don't know how this mistake happened. My system generates, and he was looking at, I think he might have confused the 15 degrees and thought we can be under 25, the degrees versus the percentage. But in either case, he's like, not a problem. I'll get a 25 or below percentage easy. Just give me a couple of days. So I can address all these issues, give you a nice clean set of plans that don't have any variances with all
I
these
don't
things covered.
See how you can do that and adjust all the elevations along the sides of the home to make sure that no slope steeper than existing, I guess. Ideally 2 to 1 without
Well, it's
retaining
the
walls. It looks to me like you need retaining walls along in a U shape along
Yeah.
both sides, not just on the back. So I would, I don't feel it's a good idea to pass these plans without actually ourselves seeing all the comments addressed.
And I don't want to lose the eaves. I think the eaves need to stay on there. Now that's not a big deal compared to your other issues, but
The house was raised based on a previous ACC comment
But see,
about
that's,
reducing the slopes. And so as a consequence, now the driveway is too steep.
so exactly. I mean, we can't just pre-approve something with, you fix one thing and it creates another issue. I don't think we can blindly pre-approve things. You fix one thing and then without seeing the consequences on it. So again, I don't think this thing is going to make it this year if it has to be a pre-approval type situation in order to do it.
It's not a pre-approval. Is there any reason why I can't get approval on with conditions, and we know what those are, and it's a easy fix? I just can't do it in a week because I'm not able to show you guys. But these aren't conditions that are, these are not unknown unknowns and we don't know what we're doing, and if we're changing this, the whole house is going to impact it. No, this is two things, and we overlooked, again, because we're rushing this, we overlooked the driveway, but we can play with the elevation of the house to where it meets both the slope area and the driveway. The retaining wall has already been addressed. And so he's just looking at this more carefully and putting a lot of this stuff on the plan, which we haven't had to do in previous years. And so he's taking care of all of that, and all of it will be taken care of. And I'm not asking.
Vitaly, let me ask you then. So if you're asking for conditional approval, so you can go out and get your earthwork started, is what I'm under, if I'm understanding you correctly. And then what happens?
Trees cut.
We allow that, and then you realize your engineers come back and say we can't meet all the requirements. Then what happens?
I'm not going to allow that to happen. We're going to meet all of your guys' requirements because looking at this, we're very, very, very close. I'm not trying to put a 17,000 square foot house on a 2,000 square foot. We're off by just a tiny little bit here, a little bit there. And, if I'm not even going to say if, but there's a reason why we got inspections and a larger deposit, and there's consequences in building these homes on these slopes. Just like in other things where I've had another home that was, we ran into some issues, just like when you're remodeling a house, you run into issues and you address them and you fix them. And this time around, I am going to do two things differently. A, not do anything without your guys' approval. And B, make sure I do it according to your guys' recommendation requirements and follow that to the T. In past years, we've always had leeway, and we had the option of changing things on the fly and not had anybody come back and really say anything. And so that's,
That doesn't make it right.
it doesn't, I'm not, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to do that again. It's just how I've done things. I mean, I can give you guys lots of examples where it was the other way around, where I was told to do something by the ACC. And after I did it, I almost got fined for doing it. And so I've been here over 10 years. So there's been mistakes on both ends. And the one thing is, a lot of times they're either honest mistakes or, you just overlook it. But as long as everybody moving forward wants to make the right adjustments so that we learn and not make the same mistakes, I'm the same way. I have other properties in Sun Valley. I plan to stay in Sun Valley for years to come. I love being out here. As I've done in the past, I'm going to learn, I'm going to adjust and make sure that this is not on every, I'm not trying to get away with stuff like this on every lot. It just what I'm working with, because all of these were drawn up from last year. And like I said, on these things, a lot of this it's minor and it's very easily changed. We can play around with the elevation of the house that it meets the slopes around and the driveway. We can play with adding retaining walls and or making our foundation walls a little bigger. Same thing with anything retaining wall in the back, trees. I know for sure I have a very good relationship with my structural engineer. If he needs to get involved, that's not going to be an issue. Any other engineer, obviously everything here is getting inspected and there's a stamp behind everybody who signs off. So none of this is just built, hey, here's your approval, build whatever you want. And county's been extremely difficult in the last few years. Anything regarding stormwater. I have a house that I've re-engineered 3 times. My house on Longshore, Aaron's re-engineering this.
Sorry, Vital, let's stay on track, man.
Yeah. So
how long would it take you to get some plans that show you? So I think the big things are your property coverage, house footprint, and then avoiding steep slopes.
So the property coverage is the big one where he has to redraw most of the house. I think all of these things, so the driveway's probably a couple of days, retaining wall's almost done. The property coverage, making the house smaller on doing it correctly. I'm gonna guess a few weeks.
Okay.
Just because it's essentially redrawing everything and it's a lot more work.
So July 31st is the cutoff date for new applications, but because you have your application in, you don't need to worry about that cutoff date. I didn't know if that was something that you are concerned about, but
well, that's one. But
I know you just want to get started.
It's the watershed window. I mean, I don't want to start cutting down trees middle of September or in September. I mean, that's my fear. And I mean, I'm okay that's what I was saying. If I can get conditional approval, if I can clear the lot, get it ready for foundation. The good thing about this house is I can make the house smaller without changing the foundation because I got quite a bit of overhang and cantilevers. So I can even do my foundation and still make my house smaller. So essentially it's framing the house, second story smaller, and that's the changes that we're focused on. And so if I can get a conditional approval,
all your rooms, wouldn't it? On the upper level.
It's fine. I can make it work. And that's where the difficulty is, me making it smaller and all the rooms, which I would need to do and get a quick revision with county. That's not an issue. But again, it just takes a little longer. But with this house, I could make it bigger. Smaller without changing the foundation. I can play around with driveway. If it won't be stormwater, it's not going to be an issue. But if it ever was, I mean, I have room to make this smaller and play with elevation and play with retaining walls and concrete so that it's done to meet every one of your guys' requirements. Not an issue at all. And my architect was saying, I can do it. I just need a little bit of time because there's another Sun Valley builder that's calling him up every single day with the same exact issue. And it just so happens this builders or architect's got a few builders. He's doing the same thing for him. And I would love to be able to go do this myself or hire another architect. I don't have that as an option. I could do it. I just can't do it in a couple of days.
I'd be inclined to go along with the conditional, but does anyone want to make a motion?
Yeah, just one more comment. We gave conditionals on two of his properties last week. I would be most comfortable deferring this to make sure that the conditions on those other two properties are met as he builds them.
Yeah, I'm not at all comfortable with passing this until I see all the issues addressed. I think that attempting to address the slopes to make sure that you meet the existing grade at the property lines, the fact that that caused the driveway, that caused the whole house to go up 5 feet, says to me that there are no easy fixes on this lot.
Well, I can tell you how the easy fix would be. You were gonna lower the house a little bit and then just raise the foundation walls. If we lower the house by 1 foot or whatever it needs to be.
Get rid of windows and stuff.
Well, we have room, even looking at that left side elevation. I mean, if we have to get rid of a window, easy, whatever it takes. But I think if we raise the wall on the foundation of the house by 1 foot and lower the house by 1 foot, that's what easy solution where we
And
take
I'd
care
really
of
like to see what you're doing with the retaining walls. Are they protecting those trees, or are we gonna remove those trees and run the retaining wall onto the neighbor's property, or what are we gonna do?
Nope,
These
no
trees with-
retaining wall on neighbor's property. Those,
What I mean is the way that retaining wall ends right at that tree, just a few feet from that other tree, you're going to destroy, damage the roots. First, removing that one tree, the 24-inch cedar, is going to harm the fir next to it. It'll suddenly be exposed where it wasn't.
We could propose to have the stump left in place there on that cedar.
No,
Yeah.
it's the canopy, the exposure to the sunlight and the wind and everything like that. And the roots, I have in my backyard where you can actually see the roots of trees that are close to each other intertwined. And one tree leans one way and the other tree leans the other way. They lean away from each other. And you can see that they depend on each other for stability. To me, either a retaining wall has to go over onto the neighbor, or it has to go away from those trees, like be held out at the back of the house, maybe. Or
and that's exactly how my architect is drawing it up, where it L's down. And then also I talked to Aaron Russell about this, and instead of going with, again, taking your previous notes, instead of going with a poured in place retaining wall with a footing, we're going to go with a stacked, and I sent a picture on the previous, you guys saw it on the previous meeting. It's going to be a stacked block with geogrid, where it doesn't require any footing, and we don't need to dig a lot behind it as we would with something that would require a footing. And so we are taking steps to minimize anything to trees. And that's another thing where, as we're cutting trees, and the one that's already approved with the R on it, 24 cedar, we do it in a way, and county's big on inspecting this also, so that we don't just damage trees and roots and mess the lot up, especially on a slope like this. So everything that we need to do, and we will do in a way that just doesn't go in there and mess it up. And yes, very difficult to do at times with these kind of lots, but not impossible. And most lots, a lot of lots out here are difficult because they have slopes and trees. And that's why I'm asking.
Trees in this size range become hazards if they're, damaged. And that's been happening around the valley, which is not a good thing. I have noticed that the tree canopy plans that have the county stamps on them as approved, in many cases, the work has to be done really close to those trees. I don't know what's going on at the county. I don't see that they have a lot of consciousness of tree root zones over there. I really would like to see these plans all fixed up before approving them and not count on promises.
They're not promises, they're written conditions that I have to follow, and they're not just promises. This is
Problem
in
is
writing.
we cannot give you these written conditions in a way that guarantees that you can meet them all. I mean, you already know our policies and you're not meeting several of them right now.
But I've also changed a ton of them to meet your policies, and some of these policies have changed very recently. And I'm doing my best, even with my
Actually,
other lots. On
let's correct that. The policies have not changed except for the submittal, electronic submittal. They have essentially not changed.
Well, haven't they been updated in June of this year?
Yes, we changed the paint colors, the pre-approved paint colors.
Well, I mean, here, let me give you guys an example. And this is the frustration that us builders deal with, even on paint colors. I had a customer that I spent a lot of time, and we bought different paint on a paint color that you guys denied that is now on your pre-approved list. So here's an example of some of the changes that we're making. Literally twice the color was denied. Now that same color is on your pre-approved list. So we're doing our best to keep up with some of these changes, and some of these changes are happening at the worst time very quickly. And so it is extremely difficult to do this, but I'm not saying I won't. I'm just saying, work with me. These conditions are not promises. They're written conditions with consequences if I fail to meet them. I will provide you guys everything, and we can put in the condition that I won't build until I submit you guys a new set of plans. I'm just asking to do everything that I need to do in the watershed window, because otherwise I'm screwed. And that comes at a very high cost to me. And
We do have other projects approved. The other thing that we can, I don't know, possibly offer is that we have a special meeting when you're ready with your plans. Like, even because we've already discussed it, to have a meeting that we vote by email or something after we see your plans. I don't know if that's something the rest of us would be.
the problem is me getting a fully finished, clean set of plans. I'm dependent on my architect, who's just slammed with all these other changes with my homes, other builders in Sun Valley, because this is impacting everybody else. And so that's gonna take me possibly weeks, where it's at that point, special meeting or not, I just may not be able to get anything done without incurring other fines. Because that's the other thing. Even if I get this approved 2, 3, 4 weeks late, we got September, where we're going to have a week or two of rains, and working out in the rain creates a whole lot of other issues, safety for people, for the environment. And the later we do this, it creates a bunch of other issues. It's best for us, environment, scheduling, everything, to get this done while we have this weather. That's why we have the watershed window. And like I said, I'm just going to have to keep repeating it. I can do all these things in the way you guys want it, meets your requirements, county's requirements, with special inspections, and I'll pay for those special inspections by Joel if you guys give me some conditions that he comes out, looks at. I'll do all of that. I just can't submit a fully clean, perfect set of plans in order to meet that. I can do it as I go. Cutting trees takes a few days to a week. I can get a lot done while trees are getting cut. Excavation takes a week. I can do a lot while excavation, and that doesn't impact the way the house is going to be, the eaves. I can make the house smaller. Man, I'll make the house significantly smaller to go even less than that 35. I'm not even saying give me the absolute everything. I'm asking for right at 35. There'll be no variances. Man, I'll even paint the house any color you guys want. I mean, I'm
Hey,
willing
guys, we got-
to work with you guys and give you everything you want. Man, if you guys can just work with me, and my only tool for doing this is, you know, a conditional permit, which is pretty common. I mean, county does it. You guys have done it before. You've done it on my other 2 projects, and I'm working on those to give you guys everything you want on those, and it'll meet your requirements.
So you're using that as leverage to try to get us to be a conditional on this one?
I'm not. It's my only tool, and I'm working with what I got. And as you guys can see, I mean, I'm fighting for this, and I'm not making it personal, but to me, this is extremely personal because the guy building this house, there's people's ability to make a living. The guy that's on board to build this house quit his full-time job because he was going to build this. And again, I'm not putting that on you guys. I'm just saying that there's a lot at stake for me and other people to do this, because we do this for a living and we depend on it very heavily. And
Hey, I was in construction for 30 years. I understand.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of people, and I mean, I'll be front with you guys. Me personally, I'm not gonna be homeless and out on the street if I don't build this. It's gonna affect other people probably as much, if not more, than it will me. And we got a year of preparation commitments from contractors and people who are gonna back it financially, and so much more, and everything's just gonna come crashing down just because I can't get a clean set of plans today. I can get them, and I will get them before I build, and it'll meet every one of your requirements. You know what? If you guys want to put in another deposit that I give you guys just to meet the conditions, you know, not even the full 10,000 for the building that was
I
raised from
just feel
5.
like you absolutely have to have a plan that works before you start digging on this lot. It has to be,
I
mean,
I'm with you, and I will for all my other
otherwise you'll make a
homes.
big mess, I think.
I will have, and that's why I didn't submit my other home to you and moved it out to next year. I will have a clean set of plans moving forward for all my other homes.
Before you
Not,
dig, well, then why not give it to us before you dig? Show
well,
it to us. Maybe do
this-
do your own hand drafting for, just to show us what you're looking at. Label the elevations everywhere, the final grade and the top and bottom of retaining wall.
Can I take this plan and make notes that say that I'm gonna do this, 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 and that?
Draw it with all the
Redrawing it.
correct numbers on it, so we can see that it has been done. And it just needs to be prettied up.
I can put in all the notes you guys want. That's easy. It's
Draw it.
redrawing stuff that I'm not an architect, and I'm afraid if I spend a day or 2 doing it, I come back to you guys and it's not done the way it should, because I'm not an architect. I mean, I can do and put notes in there saying retaining wall is going to be this and this according to ACC recommendations, and driveway is going to be under 25% because we're going to lower the house down by a foot, and we're going to meet the slopes and everything on the side of the house because we're going to raise the wall. I mean, I can put in notes like that. I can try to draw something up.
That
I'm not
doesn't
an
do it,
architect.
because, as you said,
Okay.
when you make it one change, it harms something else. You can't necessarily promise those things if you
They're not.
haven't gone through the mental
Well,
work of checking the elevations. Do they really work?
Partly because we're getting feedback today that we didn't wait, and partly because the architect's rushing through this. And we're not going to be doing that anymore. We're going to, if we get the time and if we have the condition, we're going to clean it up. And next time we submit it, we're going to cover all of these issues. And here's the other thing. There was a lot of other things on those notes that we addressed. We're talking about the couple things that are still a little bit of an issue, but we addressed a lot of other issues. So we didn't just run through this and give you something. I mean, there's a lot of time and money went into this to follow and meet a lot of other things. And so it's not like we're just sitting around not doing anything. And the worst thing for me is I can only do what I can do. And part of it is, taking a lot of your time and then just fighting for this. And after this call, calling my architect again. And I was talking to him 3 times yesterday. and I can't force him to do anything. I don't have a choice taken to another architect. And so
Guys,
I'm
we
not,
gotta keep moving here. So, like I said, you know where I feel I'm inclined for a conditional, but I'll be obviously outvoted. So we need to make a motion on this and keep moving.
Yeah, can we make a conditional with a deposit guaranteeing a time frame on these new plans and stamp drawings?
He says he can't guarantee, he can't control his architect.
Yeah, can't guarantee it. I don't think that would be up to him on when he wants to get his house built, but,
I will guarantee it. Just give me some time, and additional deposit's not a problem. I'll guarantee I'll fix your guys' issue. I just can't do it in a couple days or a week.
I don't
Give
think
me-
an additional deposit is what we want. I think we want no digging until we have something that works.
well, his whole idea is that he has to get moving out there, and that's digging, so.
That's just not a good idea. If he has to do this house next year, you know, that I'm really sorry that somebody else will have to find another job. I mean, that's not our job, is to make sure everybody's fully employed. Really,
No,
that's
that's not
irrelevant.
discussed anyways. Bruce, your thoughts?
My thoughts still fall in as to have an open hole in there if it doesn't get to where we can approve it is going to be a problem. It has to be such that we can, he says that he can do it without changing the foundation. I mean, the question is that it has to be, whatever he does has to be, we have to have something we can approve, and it has to be something he can have sealed up to meet the watershed deadline. If he's got a hole in the ground and it doesn't come up with something that will meet the approval, we've got this hole in the ground that's going to be overwintering, and that just extends. You know, people do not like to sit next to a construction site for 2 or 3 or 4 years. You know,
that can be one of the conditions. There won't be a hole. I can put a foundation, backfill, meet the requirement for the watershed window. In the meantime, I'll have everything fixed on the plan. With this house plan, because of my cantilevers, I can make the house smaller without changing the foundation. And it's actually a very simple fix. If you just look at the top floor, I cut 2 feet all around, plus a little bit of the deck. I'm golden.
well,
that doesn't change the foundation.
Will you be able to meet the open space on that by
Yep.
that correction
Yep.
too?
That's exactly what I'm saying is I can make the house smaller to meet the open space without changing the foundation. So if I
Okay.
can get a conditional approval, I can do trees, dig out, foundation, backfill by October 1st, but not start building until you guys approve the size of the house. And I'll still have eaves. The house will meet open space. It'll help if I'm making it smaller because I can move the retaining walls around certain trees. For sure meet the driveway requirement. So I can do all of those things. Again, I'm relying heavily on that conditional approval, and it's not just a promise. It's in writing saying you can build this house as long as you do this, this, and this. And so I don't have the option of just doing whatever I want
without changing the foundation size. So
that's
our
correct.
foundation will be fixed, so we won't be seeing anything that's going to require a change in the hole.
Nope, nothing.
Okay, I'm leaning toward a
Wait.
conditional then on this one then.
The issue, though, that's difficult to resolve is the driveway slope and the slope stability issues in the back of the lot. To make sure that the ground line is realistic and the retaining walls are realistic and will protect.
So that's actually the easy thing to fix. I can drop the house down because we're only off by a little bit. I can drop the house, the elevation down a foot, foot and a half, whatever's necessary.
3 feet
And
is what I calculated. You need to go down
3 feet, 3 feet easy.
5 You could only raise it 2 and still be,
I can raise my walls on my foundation walls. I can just
Well, we
raise
could
them
let
up.
him out if we want to make a motion here, so we can keep moving. We have 3 others to go through, so.
well, I move to deny or defer until there's a good set of plans.
Okay, we'll have to take a vote on that. All in favor of denial or deferral?
There was no second.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Bruce. There was no second on that. Thank you. So that motion's off, so we're gonna make another motion.
Can I make a motion?
No. I move to do a conditional approval with all of the with the stipulations that we had about meeting the coverage, basically clean up all the variances so there's no variances, and to meet the concerns with the retaining walls and stuff that Karen was mentioning. And so
Okay.
we're looking at, so what we're approving at this point is going forward with the foundation and the clearing, and then everything else, he comes back for final approval on the other things. And also
Got a second
avoiding a
on-
black garage door.
And also what?
Avoiding a black garage door. I'm sorry.
All right, I'll second. If no one else will second, I'll second that. All in favor of conditional approval based on the conditions we set forth?
Aye.
I'll go ahead
Aye.
and vote, as long as he never does this to us again.
Any opposed? Okay, we got 3-4, 1 opposed. It passes. We have conditional approval with such conditions, said conditions.
Cool. Hey, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Hey, Joel, do you have all those conditions down? And if not, I'm sure Karen probably kept good notes of this one in particularly. I'm sure she'll get that to you.
I got some of them. No variances, no black garage door. And then, we need to solve this, the slopes, no 2-to-1 slopes, right?
Yeah.
Without retaining walls.
Without
No,
retaining
yeah,
wall.
greater than
And,
2-to-1.
and I added a concern about those trees at the back property line between the 23 and 21. Because when I was looking at it,
So
That
let me ask you, would you like me to try to move forward with removing both of those or removing the one? Just some
No.
clarification on what you want to see so that I can do what it is that you want me to
no,
do.
what we need you to do is protect those really, really carefully, or offer to the neighbor to extend your retaining wall to protect their house too.
Yeah.
They have a retaining wall back there too, but they don't. They're relying on that tree.
I can talk to the neighbor. I guess I just would need some clarification to how to extend the retaining wall, how you would want to see it, just straight or curve it at an angle towards their house, or I mean,
Well,
whatever's necessary, I can do that. I'm just not.
Vitaly,
sure.
we don't want to tell you how to engineer or design your retaining wall. That's something your engineer and your geotech need to come up with on that solution there, as well as maintaining the safety of those trees, or possibly, if need be, the removal of a tree, but you'd have to put in a request for such.
I will talk to my engineer to do whatever it takes to protect trees.
But yeah, protect the trees and the neighboring homes and stability of the slope, obviously. That's what you're looking for. So we don't want to tell you how to do that, but it needs to be done.
It will be done.
Yeah, and we do have that new requirement for tree protection barrier placed around the trees at the drip line. You're not to do any earthwork in that area
Or storage.
or storage or
Mhm.
driving or anything.
We're done with this one here. Let's go to item number 2, 18 Rose Ridge Loop.
Hey, Keith,
Right.
can I bring up something real quick between these, as far as trees go? I don't know what you guys seeing around your houses, I've got 28 large trees around my house, and since the weekend of the 28th of June, every one of them is shedding their new growth. I mean, it's raining new growth around my house, and that's because the trees are really stressed because of the heat, and they're trying to save energy and water. And as they do this, this is making prime conditions for the invasion of bark beetles. That's what they wait, is for the trees to get stressed. So we have got to do everything we can to protect all of these trees, or we're going to be in big trouble here in Sun Valley.
All right, next up. You want more discussion on that, or are we ready to?
No, that was just a comment I wanted to make. It's really beginning to bother me to see this.
Okay, item number 18 Rose Ridge Loop.
18 Rose Ridge. So we have John Gordon here on behalf of Era Homes. We also have Jerry Moore,
John,
the neighbor. Let's give John speaking privileges and Jerry.
good morning, John.
Hey. You hear me?
Yes, sir, we got you.
All right.
All right. So some of these comments came, I just saw that, this morning.
Yeah, we, this is a subject for another day, but we really need to do something about getting the application deadlines, giving us a little more time than 2 days to look at these things.
I thought I had this posted by last Friday.
They certainly weren't all posted. Anyway, we can talk about it later. Let's deal with what we have.
Keep moving.
Yeah. All right. What do we got here? Comments. Too little consciousness for tree roots, for tree production barriers. Yeah, we talk about that in our compliance review also. No digging, no piling of dirt within that tree drip line. That's part of our erosion control inspection as well. So you're saying that you didn't designate more trees to be removed. 2 small maples that left. Also just all 4 trees in the front yard. And with SVCA permission, the 33-inch cedar in the cul-de-sac. Relocating buried items like the propane tank and stormwater trench, pulling the silt fencing closer to the home on the right side. The deck post support should involve minimal soil disturbance and can be outside the silt fence. And adjusting the finish grade along the sides of the home to be more closely match existing grade to avoid cut and fill in the root zones. So let's see. So one thing I do want to comment is, we do need to be careful about ACC needs to be careful about requesting trees to be removed. We've got 2 occasions now where the one that was at 16 Baywood, that was in a critical area zone. They had a stop work order issued by county, and then another one going on at 16 Big Leaf where a tree was proposed to be removed, and then later it was found out that it was in a no clearing zone.
So maybe our policies should make clearer that if they have critical areas, they need to show them on our plan.
The same thing.
Right. We're not in critical areas on this particular lot here. We are on the next one, we'll see, but so here's a tree canopy plan with trees to propose to remain. My conversations with Aaron, the engineer at ACC, he said that the tree canopy does not change the stormwater. But you ask someone else, they might say something different.
He's the designer here, so I guess that's,
John Gordon's here.
concern is that we don't want hazard trees.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these trees are either too close to the envelope already or too close to the various things that are going to be buried.
Did you say there was a neighbor that had a concern on this, or?
Yeah, we do have I haven't had a chance to look over the concerns here. Jerry. Is it Jerry?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I was surprised to see the markers when they came in from the surveyors as that happened on Tuesday. It's the first time we saw them, and realized quickly that the cul-de-sac that's shown on the plan does not exist at all. The driveway actually goes, or the street itself is virtually straight with just a slight widening, but no cul-de-sac. So currently our driveway and retaining walls, gardens, etc., as well as the neighbors are in that cul-de-sac.
Mhm.
So the cul-de-sac as it's laid out on this plan does not exist. So I'm concerned with how that's presented and how that's going to be addressed and how it will affect our existing improvements that are out there, and also wanted to make sure that there's adequate parking because our driveway is quite steep. So it's right now we use the parking at the top of the street that was actually represented to be on our property. It turns out looks like it's on the cul-de-sac. That doesn't exist, but do want to assure that we have adequate parking on the street after this construction goes in.
Mhm.
The third item noted, and there's pictures attached to all of this, is that it appears that the lot lines actually, so there's a lot between me and this development. I'm 14, there's a lot 16, and this is 18. The propane tank that relates to our house appears to be on lot 16 and 18. I'm not sure if a variance was granted at the time that propane tank was installed, because I just moved here 2 months ago. So all this is a little shocking to me, to be honest.
Mhm.
But that will also need to, so if the variance has not been previously issued, I'd like to request a variance to leave that propane tank.
Sure.
Yeah,
Let's.
I couldn't imagine anybody giving a variance on the ACC to allow a propane tank for your home to be put on a lot next to you. That just wouldn't make a lot of sense to me, but I did put in a request for the archives this morning. Like I said, I just got your email this morning at 7:45 or so, and I didn't see it till about 8:15. And I sent that over to admin. And Joel, if you can take your screen off here, I can go ahead and send that out to you guys now if you wanted to look at the email. And I can send you what she sent me this morning. I will forward this over to you guys right now. And then you guys can be taking a look at that as well.
You know, as far as street parking go, that's really not our purview unless it's temporary only. The reason
That's
that
correct.
rules and regulations is for emergency vehicle access, and it's becoming a real problem. We cannot approve permanent street parking.
Okay, I just sent that out to you guys. So you can go back to your screen, Joel, if you want.
Sure, I can address some of at least the cul-de-sac stuff going on there, what appears to be the cul-de-sac. Now, so what we're looking at here is this line. So this line, which here in red, which appears to be like a cul-de-sac, isn't, we know, you're right, it's not really a cul-de-sac. It's not paved like a cul-de-sac. The roadway, I'm going to draw a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. The roadway, you know, I think is going to be over here somewhere. And so all of this area, this cul-de-sac is going to be Sun Valley right away, Sun Valley property.
Correct.
And the actual lot doesn't start. So this your neighbor's property doesn't start till right here. This is a lot. So the Sun Valley right-of-way property doesn't always match where the actual pavement is going to be. So even though this appears like it, you know, it could be paved into a cul-de-sac, but it's not, and that's very common. Then you can see there's this gravel parking area on the survey, a little bit of a concrete driveway there. And I don't think those would be, those should not be impacted by what's being proposed on the site plan here.
So the concrete driveway, I'm guessing, is my concrete driveway that, as you said, is on Sun Valley right away.
Mhm.
I don't, yeah, I didn't realize that when I bought the house. So I just want to have some assurance that I will still have sole use of that driveway and the
Oh, yeah.
retaining walls, et cetera, that relate to that.
Yeah, there should be no disturbance going on there, and you'll still have access to that. There's always a little bit of you know, Sun Valley right away on almost all of these lots between where the pavement road edge actually is and your actual property line. Yeah, you're not going to lose access to your property.
That's good. That's great to
Yeah.
know. They're also requesting the removal of that 33 inch
Yeah.
tree, which is
Sure.
the reason. If that's not going to change, why would they need to request approval of that tree?
So they would need to request approval of that tree because that tree is on the Sun Valley property.
But that makes me think there's going to be changes that might have impacts to our property.
Yeah.
That's something John, sure, why he wants that tree removed?
I didn't
No,
think that.
I brought that up as a possible,
Yeah, it's not being proposed as being removed. It's,
no, it's not being actually shown, no decision seemed to have been made about it. Whether it's being kept or removed, but it seems, I mean, I would love for it to stay, but I would also love for, you know, if it turns out that to build the home, they're ripping up large roots from that tree, then it would need to be removed because it would become a hazard.
Okay. All right, so is there anything else we need to answer for Jerry at this time, or can we continue on with the proposal on this home?
So I guess I'm not clear about what happens with the variance related to the lot, most of which is with regards to the propane tank. And if there's a possibility to get a variance, or I'm not sure if that lot that's currently owned by Sun Valley is a buildable lot in that there's only 10 feet at the top as shown on.
Yeah, that's why I put in the request for information this morning, right after reading your email. So it's going to take them probably a few days, especially with some staff changes right now, to get that information back to me. And then we will find out more about that and actually let you know. That make sense, Jerry?
Yeah, I'm just concerned with this moving ahead without having resolution.
Say that again.
I said I'm just concerned that this would move ahead without resolution to these issues or concerns.
I don't see any of this really impacting the proposed build. These are all concerns with where your property line was, which maybe should have been seen when you purchased the property and made sure you knew where the property lines were Because it's primarily what you're talking about is the knowing where your property line is against what goes up against Sudden Valley. I do not see these concerns impacting our discussion on the proposed construction. They seem to be too
I agree.
separate to me. So let's.
Not that
move-
your concerns aren't valid, so we have taken them, and like I
Right.
said, I forwarded over to admin this morning so we can pull some archives and see exactly what happened on the propane location and stuff like that. So we will put that out and we'll let you know, but I do agree with Bruce, it's just more of a, maybe forthcoming, your real estate agent, whoever sold you that property, should have been more forthcoming, have your property lines marked, or you guys should have been more aware of that situation, but I do not see it affecting the construction for this house.
Yes, I agree with that. They were definitely not forthcoming at all about this situation. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your time, Jerry.
All
Okay,
right, let's
Cole?
move on. Sure. So do we want to talk about tree removals then? Tree protections on this property?
And you need to mute.
Okay, one moment.
He's got an opinion.
I think he likes it.
All right, so what are we talking about on this one now? Keep moving.
Concerned about, retaining or removing some trees.
But keeping only non-hazard trees, I guess is what that umbrella category is. And reducing the number of potential hazard trees to the minimum. Either really protect a tree or consider removing it.
Mhm.
Okay,
I have questions about particular trees. I'm not familiar with what has been ribboned and, how it compares to the canopy. And I'd just like some details to go back to Sergey with if there are changes to what's being proposed.
well, I guess, John, some of that might progress as construction progresses. You may not deem a tree to be a hazard tree right now, but you're gonna, say, go through some trenching somewhere and all of a sudden realize you guys just went through a main root somewhere on a tree, thus making it now becoming a hazard tree, would be my estimation on that. I mean,
Well, the other issue is fill over tree roots. If you change the grade and if you raise the grade over the roots, you kill them also. Christopher confirmed that. The International Society of Arboriculture, whatever, their website has information that only a few inches of soil over the top can kill tree roots. And Christopher agrees with that. So this is why I think that the plans should not show work zones where the soil surface can be disturbed any closer to trees than absolutely necessary. Because we will be putting up that protection fencing, and if it doesn't work, we'll know before they even start digging.
So do you have specifics that you want to point out?
I did lay out some suggestions, but ultimately, once you remove the trees that are to be removed, and you're ready to start digging, before you dig, there's an inspection for both your silt fencing, your erosion control, all that, and tree protection barriers, which will have to be put up around the drip lines. And if then it turns out that you can't build, you're then going to have to apply to remove those trees.
Okay. but I still don't have any specifics.
In writing in the spreadsheet.
Well,
Um,
can you point out particular trees that are planning to stay that are too close that might have to come out? Because I just don't know. I don't know what's been ribboned.
I don't know what's been ribboned either. I went on a site visit a long time ago, actually. So I actually don't remember.
I assume your arborist has things ribboned out there, John, correct? We don't ribbon the trees.
Right. Well, the builder should have prepared the lot.
Yeah.
I'm not in on that. So, you know,
Okay, then, if, John, if you're not really familiar with this, let's go ahead and have Joel do the presentation then. Because we're not here to just feed you specific trees at this point.
okay.
Yeah, we got to keep moving. Yep.
Yeah, so we require, ACC requires non-barrier fencing around the drip lines of any trees to remain. If, you know, if it's deemed that tree is going to be harmed and create a hazard tree, then we propose to be that tree to be removed. You know, on my site visit, I do have photos of trees ribboned out there. But, you know, right at this time, I can't sit here and compare them to all the ones that are on the site at this time.
Well, how are we on everything else? Open space, footprint? Go through your list.
Yeah, everybody, let's see. Where's my report? So I've been putting up reports into the drive. Have you been seeing those?
Yeah, it's my first stop.
Yeah.
Your
So-
yellow highlight just is talking about landscaping plan. So where's their landscaping plan? Is that proposed planting does not match planting worksheet. So has that been resolved or what's going on with that?
Let me get here. Oh, the landscaping plan proposed plan does not match the planting worksheet. So here's our landscape plan worksheet. It's got, I think, 6 trees, 18 shrubs. And then when we look at the, actually, hang on here. Did I cut it? Here we go. You know, and then when we look at it, we don't have, those numbers don't match. We don't have 6 trees. We don't have 18 shrubs.
Well, but the note over there under the natural vegetation indicates 6 trees and 18 shrubs. So it's, the landscape plan is pointing out the landscaping area as shown on the canopy plan, which is, you know, sort of the builder's own deal, own thing.
Kind of this area.
Yeah. And then for natural vegetation, that will vary depending on how much was disturbed and what the county requires. And my rough calculation was 6 trees and 18 shrubs would fit the bill, but that may be, you know, adjusted by the county at final time.
Well, the county told me, Kirshner told me, that they don't enforce that. So that's our job.
Well,
they don't
there've been
enforce
other-
their
There were
work.
other properties that the county did enforce planting on that had been approved by the ACC without, so.
Okay, I guess what he said was that that worksheet, we were not gonna use a suggestion.
Yeah.
Therefore, so this year we have been making that kind of a requirement because we haven't got our own ideas all set. So I don't know what area you plugged in for that many trees. I think the relevant area is what's disturbed inside the silt fencing there. Is that what you put in? 850. Maybe that is what you put in, and maybe that is a little unrealistic. I don't know. I don't think generally we would want, in most cases, new trees planted where there already are trees. You know, where you're planning to just leave the native growth alone.
Well, so if I've got too many trees, that's fine too. We can reduce them. I guess I'm a little confused by the worksheet that the county is putting out and then it not being that strict.
Yeah, maybe we should take another look at it. That worksheet, it's kind of a stopgap right now.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's being unrealistic with the trees, because we don't want you to plant trees 2 feet from your house either.
Right.
Certainly not Douglas firs.
Yeah, my sense of it is that you can get pretty accurate about the landscaping area, the light green, what you're going to do there, but the rest of it, the native stuff, kind of evolves and
Yeah.
doesn't get finalized until final.
That has been a problem, so we're trying to change that. I've seen some lots where there was like a fern every 20 feet and nothing else for like a really large area.
Yeah.
And then others where there was no plants at all. So we are trying to address that, but we are struggling with it right now because we hadn't had enough time to think about it. So in this case,
When this house is excavated, is the plan to remove everything right away? Because with that canopy plan, I see absolutely no room for any kind of storage of overburden, including for future backfill. Looks to me like everything's going to have to hauled off site.
Well, I can't answer specifically, but this builder in practice shifts dirt from one lot to another. That's why he has several projects going on at the same time.
Well, what's he doing to the tree canopies on those lots?
Well, no, it's like an existing, like for instance, right near where I live, 17 Inlet Circle. It sat all winter. The foundation sat all winter because he needed backfill. And so when he started excavating another lot this summer, he's moving all that dirt over to Inlet Circle and backfilling. So that's his general practice. And so
well, that's not necessarily cool.
well, let me think about this. I think I understand what the deal is. It's a timing matter, I'm guessing, that when he's excavating one lot, he may not have any room to store stuff, so he hauls it all off to the approved pit. And then he wants a couple months later to do some backfill, but he already hauled it all off. So if he then has another lot, he can take dirt from there to do that backfill is kind of what I'm guessing the situation is. Is that right?
no, he moves dirt from, and while he's excavating, he moves that dirt to another lot for backfill rather than hauling it off site and then hauling dirt back on site. He's saving hauling costs.
But is he storing dirt in the root zones, the trees on the other lot?
No,
I
He's
guess,
just- He's just backfilling with the dirt from one side to the other. He just,
yeah,
according to what
he
John's saying,
doesn't store dirt on the site. He
uses it.
he uses it.
I think there's like, I can't imagine a single, well, maybe there's a very small number of lots in Sun Valley that actually need net fill. Pretty much when you dig your foundation, you have a lot of extra dirt, is what I think,
Mhm.
both when you're above the street and when you're below the street. So I guess that's why I was just surmising that. If you
Well,
all-
maybe in the long term, there's a net subtraction of dirt that gets taken away. But I really don't, I can't think of it, any instances of Sergey's builds where he has dirt stored on the site.
Okay,
And he tends to go with a longer build period, because he'll keep a lot, out of commission over the winter because he hasn't been able to backfill it yet, because he wasn't able to start an excavation, and therefore he has to wait another year to get the fill to backfill.
so he leaves an open pit without,
Well, he has the foundation put in.
yeah, but not backfilled against it, so that I have a hard time picturing.
Well, I think there's the minimum fill. I don't know, he meets the county requirements, and now, for instance, 17 Inlet Circle, he's put the dirt in the garage, which is, higher than the bottom floor, so he's got dirt in there to fill it.
Let's bring it back here to this property.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
please.
so,
I mean, he is aware, we is aware during our pre-construction meetings about not putting dirt on the tree roots under the drip line. And the one inspection I've been out on for him did have their tree barrier fencing in place, and I didn't see any dirt on it. So he knows the rules about that,
Okay.
and we'll be inspecting for that.
so question,
Yeah.
is the sewer line taken off from the right spot?
Is the sewer line taken off from the right spot?
Yeah, you have those maps.
I don't know. Let me see here. I don't know if I was provided a hard copy of the Lake Wacom Water Sewer District sewer maps, so I can't confirm that it is taken off in the right spot. Yeah, I don't have a copy of those maps. Probably because it's not a requirement for our application. I can find out.
Yeah,
Right.
you need to think that's one of the things that they should know before they even design their house. People
Mhm.
design their house, but, okay,
I mean, generally they're supposed to. They do. Lake Wacom Water Sewer comes out and or at least shows them where, draws up a map, but it's not part of our submittal requirements here at the ACC.
Yeah, my understanding is that they can tell you when you get your water availability permit.
Right.
our requirements do show that do require that they show where all the utilities are going to be brought in. So yes, I think our policies do require that, but anyway, where it is shown is not too bad. Seems to me it's not you know, especially if you remove those two, that little alder there, it's not gonna cause a tree problem. So getting back to the tree suggestions, I think the whole front yard, those 3 alders and the 1 cedar, if those are removed, then they have room for the propane tank and the stormwater system without destroying the roots of trees. If they leave those in there, then I don't know where they can put these 2 buried items.
I'm almost certain that those alders are all coming out. And I'm pretty sure the cedar would too, because it's just too close to the driveway.
Yeah, I mean, the driveway is not that disruptive generally. I mean, unless it's greatly different from the existing grade, which it's not, I don't think in this case. But the stormwater thing is 4 feet deep, so.
Yeah.
That's showing that tree staying. So, you know, that,
Yeah, these plans should be more consistent in future.
Well, that's why I was telling you, I don't know what's been ribboned. I mean, there's often trees shown on the canopy plan are coming out. And, you know, the builder will ribbon them. And then usually the county says, okay, well, you can take that out, but you're going to have to replant 3 to 1. And that's kind of going back to the final landscaping issue in the native vegetation area can get affected by that 3 to 1 replanting rule. And, you know, if you take the tree out, then you have more room to put your replants in. So.
So I would request, I think, that the buried propane tank be relocated where it won't harm any of the trees to remain. And the
Well, do you see any, I mean, is it too close to the 32-inch cedar, for instance?
it is, and it's also right over that that little tree we were just looking at, the fir, not that big, but on the previous on the tree canopy plan, there's a fir shown right there, I think. 10-inch fir. I don't know why it's not on this plan. The survey has it there.
Oh, 10-inch fir, yeah.
So you'll have a big area there if you get rid of those 4 in the front yard. Give you room for the trench and the.
Well, he doesn't want to get too close to the water lines either, though.
So I don't know, maybe relocate the stormwater trench a little bit. I don't know. I mean, it seems like that should be enough room to be able to do both. Or use the above ground tanks.
Well, yeah, he prefers the buried. If he used it above ground, he'd have to try and find a place in the rear or the side, and that's awkward with this lot.
Yeah, not much room. So ideally, somewhere in the front yard. If the 33-inch fir cedar on Sun Valley land there is removed, then maybe you can put it between the driveway and the property line on that side.
Well, is this just a suggestion or
no.
what?
Yeah, it's just that they shouldn't be, these kinds of things shouldn't be installed where they're going to harm the trees that are to remain.
Okay.
helpful suggestions are just that, you know, they're intended to be suggestions, not orders.
Okay, so I have a note that you're concerned about possibly damaging trees by the propane tank,
Right.
and that it
We'll be
consider
doing
moving.
the tree
if
fencing,
necessary.
the tree barriers, and so you should think about your project
Yeah,
in that context.
Yeah, I would think if they had the tree barriers set properly, they would know they can't dig in that area.
right.
Yeah.
And so getting that straightened out before you start work is a lot easier, I would think.
If the trees that Joel marked for removal in the front there, and which especially that 34-inch cedar, if we've got a line going through there for the stormwater, you know, if the propane tank would just move to more toward the front of the house there, you wouldn't, I don't think you'd have a conflict with the other stuff. It'd still be buried and,
Yeah, it could be
No.
rotated too, so it lines up with the contours more.
so I think that could easily be just moved over. And again, the question of saving the trees right in front of the house there, I think that might be better replant. Because I don't know how you're gonna not stress that cedar and create a hazard tree out of it that close to the house.
I agree.
Great. All right, Joel, what else you got on this? You gotta keep moving, guys.
Sorry.
All right. Sorry, I'm trying to get this little guy down to a nap here. No worries. Those are kind of the big things. There's some elevation inconsistencies, I think, on sheet A3. Is that right?
Yeah, the elevation views. On the west elevation, they've got 676 on both corners. On the south elevation, they've got 674. And on the north elevation, they've got 672, all for those same corners. So which is it?
Excuse me.
On the low side of the house, the east side, I guess they're calling it. I don't think a flat line is good for protecting the tree roots. They have to kind of follow existing grade. So there's no cut or fill where the tree roots are. But also all the elevations should match each other. And the other elevation thing that I noticed was that the front of garage, if it's 674.0, the driveway profile showed, it shows 674.8. Sorry, the garage slab elevation in
Yeah.
the site profile on sheet A1.1. So that 0.8 is quite a jump. I did not have time to check the driveway slope, but just visually from my site visit, I think they probably are okay.
They've got it at 11 degrees.
Degrees?
Yeah, 11
Oh,
degrees.
that's not right. Right? What can it be?
Yeah, 14 degrees is the maximum.
Okay.
Well-
Does that lowest point line up with anything where it'll drain? Yeah, probably, right? Looking at the contour lines. Let's see. Yeah, there's kind of a scale there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we'll keep that, but yeah, okay, that looks reasonable. I didn't do any calculations on it because the lot looked pretty flat, so
Yeah.
that's probably okay. But the 0.8, they should fix that.
The 0.8, what's that?
The ground line is showing as 674.0 elsewhere in the plans. Maybe that should be raised a bit, or the garage slab lowered. One or the other, just anyway, just.
Do you mean the garage slab and the main floor, those differences?
No, the 674.8. If you compare that to the sheet A 3.0, which shows the ground line at the house 674.0. This is a minor point.
Yeah, are we worried about needing retaining walls here?
No, it's just a minor point. It's like
Okay.
you're gonna have to drive over a 10-inch difference between the garage slab and the ground. So they should just tidy that up is all. But the main difference is that they're showing 676. And then on the left, the west elevation, which
Mm.
doesn't match anything else. So they need to take a look and decide what their elevations are going to be. But I think they should change it with the tree fencing, protection fencing in mind.
All right, Joel, what's next?
Let's see. Those are the big ones. Roof overhang width. We got 1 foot eaves. This is a question. It's not a requirement on our ACC policies to have those roof overhangs dimensioned, but I do measure them on our physical plans here.
And we are.
As long as they in the lot coverage and
Yeah.
within our guidelines, shouldn't matter anyways.
He's well
Yeah.
within property coverage, 27%, open space, 62%.
But to do the lot coverage, you have to rely on an assumption about the overhang width, because you see the floor plans, which don't show the overhang. And then you see the dimensions to the roof overhangs on the site plan, but somehow there's no way to verify the actual size of the house, including the overhangs, unless you know the overhang width.
The roof,
You can measure them with a ruler. I have a ruler.
yeah,
Right,
the
but-
roof
That's part of
plan
my
also
job.
gives you everything.
But in past years, they have had a roof plan that actually dimensioned the roof.
Where are we?
Is this it?
Foundation.
Wait, go
main
back to
floor
that.
Flaming. Here is the roof framing plan.
Shows both
Yeah, it doesn't show the overhang width or the dimensions. It's not dimensioned.
It doesn't need to be. I can measure it. It's not a requirement. It's
Yeah,
fine. And we're well within the
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
if
concern.
if
It's
we're
just
getting
that,
close to those property coverage rules, then I'll scrutinize it a lot more carefully. But
that they
it's not a
don't
concern.
always draw to scale, especially when they make mid-course changes. And I don't like relying on that. I do like to see them actually dimension it, which they were doing last year.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the drawings we've been looking at have had them dimensioned.
Hmm.
If it matters, it should be dimensioned. We can't rely on their drawing it to scale, in my opinion.
So I got a question on this. Do we have a list of what we still would need to want to see? I don't see anything on this that would keep us from approving it. We
Yeah,
just
I-
have some tweaks and stuff on elevations and stuff. Everything else looked good, right?
Yeah, I have no.
I
other
think
issues.
And possibly the location of that, but even that's not a killer on where it's at. Be nice to
what?
see it away from those trees.
the location of what?
The propane tank buried.
Propane. And then that could change just if water and sewer changes over a couple feet anyways.
Yeah.
The exact
And that's-
location isn't found.
So that's something that
Okay.
Joel's gonna have to watch. If they start cutting if they looks like they're gonna cut tree root, it'd be better to move the tank out of the way than to remove extra trees at that point. But I would like to move to approve as submitted with the, move with conditions that those little tweaks are cleaned up and the paperwork updated, and just let Joel handle that.
Mhm.
We get a second on that?
No second.
Okay, second. By Tom, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Sorry, I'll vote in favor, except I'm not sure I clearly understand the conditions.
The conditions were to watch out for the trees and possibly move the propane tank over.
And cleaning up the elevation on the plans.
Right.
Okay.
That was an approval by you, Karen?
Yeah,
Okay, that's unanimous. Hey, John, thank you for your time.
Yeah, I'm here for another one too.
You are, okay. All right, item number 307. Which one are you here for, John? 307 or 311?
307.
All right, let's move to item number 307 Sudden Valley Drive, new construction. Joel still with us?
Yeah, yeah. He's napping. All right. Still trying to get over this cold a little bit. 311 Sudden Valley, guys. Yeah, so we have black garage door is being proposed. You know, we do talk about, and I tell that the garage door should be the body color unless it says unless otherwise approved. So I tell them they are welcome to submit it for approval, but
Well, we always recommend that it be the body color. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but we do recommend that.
So it does need to be approved if
Yes.
it's going to be black.
So when we're talking black, is this one of these newer ones with just kind of a black, the glass with the black trim? Or are we talking a solid black? Because I'm not going to go for a solid black door. And that's the next one down, isn't it?
Wait a second. Are we on the right one here? Because I've got this spec sheet. It's calling for the garage door to be pure white.
Yeah, this is 307 black. I think you're looking at the
Am
comments.
I looking at the wrong?
311.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
I was going to say,
Sorry, the spreadsheet hops around a lot here. Okay. Oh yeah. So all right. So let's ignore the garage door. 15-foot setback on the front. So do we do have a variance in for this? This is because we're in a critical area zone.
Yeah.
And so county has approved this. There's not, we're right up against the wetlands there.
Yeah, this is the one that we requested they move it back, and then the county said, no, you got to move it back and forward again.
That was 16 Baywood.
Yeah, it's a different one.
Yeah. So, county's probably not going to let us.
And there's a lot of space
Let's move
between
this
the
house back.
pavement and the property line on this too. So I'm really not concerned about that if the county doesn't care.
Mhm.
I feel the same way.
yeah, the variance request is actually on Sudden Valley Drive.
Yeah,
But they're calling the front of the house on Hollyview and the flanking street as Sudden Valley Drive. So you still have the 20-foot setback, front setback quote. And the 15-foot is on the flanking street.
Is there a reason why they're trying to say that Sun Valley Drive is the flanking street?
Because the county would object to having less than 20 feet on what is called the front.
huh,
So the driveway comes off Sudden Valley Drive, which should be giving it a Sudden Valley address, and yet
Yeah. And it will still have a Sudden Valley address, I'm pretty sure.
so on what basis does the county? Their
Yeah.
zoning
Just
code-
it's just a, I don't know, formality or labeling or something like that.
like I say, if the county wants to accept that, I'm not going to be a concern. But for us, it's 20 feet off either side, and we're looking at a variance because of the extenuating circumstance and and there's a lot of space in between that and the pavement. So I'm good with that. It's got an extenuating circumstance. That's why we have variances.
Yep.
All right, let's make a motion to approve the variance then right now.
I move to approve the variance.
It doesn't cause a sightline problem for the corner?
No, it's way back.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll second.
All in favor of approving the variance?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. The variance been approved.
All right,
Okay.
a couple more comments on here. Survey shows a stream to the southwest as well as wetlands to the northwest. Shouldn't there be a buffer line? So in the natural resource assessment. Okay. So are you saying, why is there not a buffer line on the site plan is the question?
Yeah, it says N-type stream.
Mhm.
And I thought those, I don't know if that's the center line of the stream. I think it is, but I'm not sure. Isn't that where the Sudden Valley, I mean, it's a stream created by a Sudden Valley culvert, it seems like, or handled by a Sudden Valley culvert, I should say, down there. And
Yeah, that's probably just the ditch.
it should have like a, if it's called a stream, it should have a buffer, right? I don't know.
Well, anything here in the wet, anything that's in
Getting gun
wetland
shy about
area.
tree removals without knowing all these things.
Mhm.
And I'm a little unsure that leaving that one cedar while removing the other two trees right near it is going to be good for it.
Yeah, I was worried about taking I like trees left or removed in groupings because I'm always worried about the wind throw setting up on the remaining trees when they do that, especially next to houses. So
So
that
the
is a
immediate
concern.
question to the south.
And if for wetland stuff, then the county gets involved in that. So I'm not
Mhm.
a little harder.
Yeah. So yeah, that one cedar that's furthest to the bottom of the page there. But I don't want to recommend removal and then have the county say, oh, that's in the buffer, you can't remove that.
Right. I mean, you can request for removal, but you can't demand it. You can, I say, hey, ask county for this, try to seek county permission. But my guess is after the natural resource assessment, wetlands mitigations all completed, they've accounted for all these trees and trees to remain. And
Yeah, the worry is that we have
Through.
a hazard tree
Mm.
because of county requirement. It is ultimately, I believe, up to the applicant to make sure that, if we have requirements that conflict with county, they have to get that resolved, especially if ours are based on ignorance.
Comment that the site plan should show the entire lot and not be cut off at the corner. It is a little cut off down here. That's all wetlands, no go zone, right? Mitigation area. So I didn't make a concern of it. There are some trees missing from the site plan. Back here by the deck. Couple of trees in the tree canopy plan. At least. Project shows far too much digging and trenching through tree root zones, including for a buried propane tank, stormwater treatment, trench, and various utilities. Trenching damage roots unless done by an air spade. So any of these trees in Sun Valley right away. Root zone should be protected. Setbacks are shown to the walls rather than the eaves, and because the roof overhang width is not dimensioned, it's not possible to confidently verify setbacks or lot coverage areas. Yeah, they are going to the walls. You know, we're not really close to those set
Or an issue of the lot coverage.
set maybe 25. Yeah, I can get, where are we at on the lot coverage? 307. So our lot property coverage is 28%. We have 63% open space. So you're good.
But you're assuming an overhang width to come up with your numbers, right? Or measuring it.
Measuring it on the
Yeah.
pull it up here.
Yeah, their roof layout should have dimensions. How they were doing it last year. Just a note for future, you know,
Mhm. Well, we can do that. I mean, it's
future submittals that they need to.
we could put that in the ACC policies as a something they have to have dimensioned. I mean, it's my job to measure him.
Yeah, it should sort of go without saying that we want a roof plan because we want the dimensions of the roof, but it doesn't literally actually say that. So maybe we can change that wording.
Yeah, I know. So it does require we have a full plan submittal. So a roof plan would be included in that. But if to request a specific something like that, we want your roof eaves dimension, then they have to add that in as well on quality and content of submittals. All right, next up, comment wise, let's see. Site visits show that existing steep slopes along most Sun Valley Drive lot frontage are currently bare and eroding. This should be addressed / mitigated.
The driveway will solve part of the problem,
Mhm.
but upslope from that, there's more. I don't know. I mean, the best we can do is try to plant some plants, I guess, because there's a
Mhm.
lot of large trees that were supposed to remain right there. And so digging the slope back is not a good idea. There are no culverts between here and the low point in the road. So that's a good thing, but their culvert will eventually be at risk from dirt eroding down into the ditch. So I don't know if we can put,
Well, that's part of maintenance.
pardon?
Well, that'd be part of maintaining their culvert.
Yeah, it's not clear to me what maintaining the culvert and ditch really consists of. I think they're supposed to keep the ditch clear of debris, but not of silt. That wouldn't be very fair since in many places the silt isn't even coming from the property that it ends up on. So I don't know if people are with me on this, we could ask for some evergreen ground cover planting. Or just let it be. I have noticed, I'm learning about the trees, but I have noticed that a lot of cedars seem to have nothing growing under them. And there's a lot of cedars here. Maybe nothing can be planted there.
Yeah, I've got some roadies growing under a couple, but they don't grow very well. They're not real healthy and
Yeah. Anyway, that's
Mhm.
something that would be nice for them to address if they can. But
so just need vegetation planted to stabilize.
find some way to stabilize without harming those trees. I don't know if a little retaining wall like a rockery or something, but I have no idea. I mean, that would be nice, a small retaining wall. But
Would that be on their property then, or Sudden Valley's property?
it would be in Sun Valley. I wouldn't want a concrete retaining wall. And I don't know, whether we can require that. I am looking here though. I definitely want to insist that they rethink where they're showing their sewer line and their propane tank and their water line. They're all going quite close to different trees that are all supposed to remain.
Yeah, I think most of the time they're shown for reference points only, and actually when you're out in the field, you might move them over, like you say, because, hey, they're too close to the tree, let's move it over a couple feet, or, they make those decisions when they're out in the field.
Yeah, they should, their as-built plans would be very helpful if they showed where it actually went. But
Are we close to a vote on this one? The cat just puked on a carpet.
oh boy.
Make a motion.
Let's see, do I have anything else on this? No, right?
That was all that you had, yeah.
Yeah. So if we can say that they, draw their attention to the tree protection barriers and that they need to rethink some of their locations, like their propane tank in that light.
Take the trees in consideration.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
We get a motion?
I'll move to approve with comments.
Second? Anyone?
Second.
All in favor? All right, it's unanimous.
Be right back.
All right.
All right, very good. Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, on to item number 4, 311 Sudden Valley Drive, new construction,
Yeah.
So the
black
only,
garage.
so the only way to speed us up is to get the cat in there to puke on something, huh?
Yeah, she does that because
I'm
I'm
not
not paying attention.
gonna go get a now.
So we've got John Helmsmith here with Andrea from ABT Consulting.
Hi.
Here, let's start with that black garage door.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're willing to go body color.
Thank you.
Easy.
Yeah, that was easy. Just out of curiosity, what is that garage door? Does it have glass panels in it? Is it
Just
new
glass.
style?
Yeah, just the top row windows.
It's on sheet 2 of the plans.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get to that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to some of Karen's comments then about the driveway.
Oh, I see.
For whatever reason, I can't rotate my. I believe these guys are being placed in my OneNote here. So it's saying that the asking that the driveway showed all the way down to the roadway edge, goes to the property line.
Yeah, the survey should show the roadway edge. I don't know if yours does.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, good.
Sudden Valley Drive right there. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, that's the property line, or is that the edge of pavement?
That is the 20-foot setback is shown on the
Well, that's the
from the
center
property
line.
line.
Yeah, that's the official center line of Sudden Valley Drive right away. So that is not the edge of pavement.
I'm pretty sure it is. The contour lines show the ditch starting right there next to it, so it couldn't be the center of the road.
No, there wouldn't be a 30-foot dimension, and that's shown as a center line. It would be labeled on the survey. They're always labeling what these things are, and so I don't think I have your survey in my package, so I don't know. But typically they show edge of pavement. And this is not the edge of pavement. It would not be a uniform distance from your frontage.
I agree.
So,
Huh.
Hopefully, you can ask them to
Yeah,
show that.
we're kind of where the house sits is kind of locked in just by our building envelope because of all the hoops we had to jump through for the critical areas and that mitigation and whatnot.
I think you did a nice job on that.
But we can certainly I'll ask my draftsman to add that.
Yeah. And what we want is if it slopes down to the road, then we want either we want you to follow Appendix A, either have the 3.5-foot downslope at the edge of pavement before you start going up, or if you can't, if you have too steep a driveway, which it doesn't look like that's the case here, but if you did, then you'd need a strip drain emptying into the ditch.
Right.
Instead.
Yep.
Well, that's what I'm looking for. That's why I want to see would normally
Okay.
want to see the whole driveway profile.
Will do. I can add that. No problem.
Joel, you have variances on this one?
No, I don't believe we do have any variances. Is that right?
That shouldn't be.
Yeah. Driveway is within. Driveway is not too steep. Lot coverages are good. Property coverage 22%. Open space we have 61.5%.
Yeah.
All right. So where were we talking about? The garage, this garage slab elevation. No, I gotta pull up the whole plan set here.
Huh.
Hmm.
Why is my plan showing this part of the house is in the setback? Showing it in 5 foot, within the 5 foot setback?
You may not have the revised site plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. We revised it. Obviously, that was one of the issues.
You see, we should have a revised one up here. Let me check.
Yeah, I saw it
I think it's that one showing right now.
Yeah, they were both in there, and I did see this one.
Yeah, there was two of them there, the original and then the revised.
Yeah.
The revised one's 6/24/21, I think is lower in the stack.
Oh, okay.
It's its own file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that shows everything's meeting. And we've got the county looking over their shoulder because of wetland stuff, so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
Right.
our calls on this are kind of preempted by the county on vegetation and that sort of stuff, so. Jump to the main things, and other than that, I'd like to close this one out.
Yep.
Yeah, so your garage floor on the where is it? So front elevation, I gotta,
Right there where you are now,
can you see my screen?
on the yes, on the
Oh, okay.
driveway cross section, it shows the top at
Mhm.
at 520.
Yeah, we've got 518 here. Yeah, so the driveway cross section was something that wasn't originally submitted, so it was requested. I think they brought it in, and I didn't catch that then. So that's 520, and then
On sheet 2.
or 518. You've got this listed as 520.
Right.
On sheet 2 with the home elevations. It's well, the ground line is shown at 518. Oh no, the garage slab is also shown at 518. So I think I'm not sure either one would work, but
Well, at 520, their driveway is 13%. So if you go down to 518, then
Even better.
even better.
Right.
so it would be good to clean that up and pick one.
Yeah, sure. Not a problem.
Next up, lot outline on the 7th draft site plan. Seems to be accidentally shifted, making it difficult to verify dimension and setbacks.
But
Excuse
the
me.
arrows are to the right points, so it's just kind of a plan cleanup thing, not a big issue. It'd be nice if they shifted that back so it matches the corners.
Sure.
Yep.
And stormwater treatment should be located under the driveway for multiple reasons. It should not be in the stream buffer. It should not be so close to multiple trees designated to remain. It should be in a higher location to successfully outlet to the ditch. So you want to make him move the stormwater under the driveway?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. There is a detail for that.
There is an option.
Right.
What's wrong with the location?
Yeah, I'm not following that.
Mhm.
It's inside the stream buffer, right?
Right. Well, it's approved by the county.
It'd be inside the stream buffer if it was in the driveway, wouldn't it? Or
Yeah,
No,
pretty much.
be in the
No,
critical
stream
area?
buffer follows that side of the house, right?
No, with this 50-foot stream buffer.
Yeah, it would be outside the stream buffer if it was under the driveway. It's also close to those trees there in the stream buffer, so they won't want you to cut them down even though they're alders, I'm guessing. They seem mostly to be alders.
Yeah, they are.
But if they're not going to allow you to cut those trees down, and we require you to put tree protection fencing around them, it could be an issue with the one, particularly with the one right in front of it at the lot line.
Well, it's a it's a 4-foot deep pit is all it is.
Right.
Yeah,
but it's shown like 2 feet from one of those trees. So that little alder
Right.
that's on the lot line.
right, right.
So if in the stream buffer, you're not allowed to cut down trees, then you'll have a problem. We will require you to fence off the root zones and not dig there.
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue. We can move that up the lot.
There's another one uphill from it, an 8-inch alder.
And that is marked as,
Remaining.
what am I looking at here? Right, but it's quite a distance from that.
Well,
I think if we just
move
put,
it
I think we
towards
just
that
put in,
tree. Pardon?
you know,
Chris?
if we just put in to avoid the tree roots on those things, the county is gonna be looking so close on this.
Mhm.
And it's really difficult for me to be concerned about a small alder considering their short lifespan anyway.
They are, well, they're wanting to tip over as is.
Yeah,
But the other thing is, you know, they're 4
Is the
feet
county
deep,
gonna
the
have them
outlet's
plant?
at the bottom.
Yep,
So if it's 4 feet below that contour line where that is, which is approximately 5'11.5" or something, it's below 5'12". So if you take 4 feet off of that, you're at 5'08" or less, and the ditch is 5'10". So you're asking water to flow uphill if you put it there.
yeah, that's why I said it can be moved up.
Right.
And that's also, I mean, that's something the county has allowed us to do as far as just situating it, according to common sense.
Yep, I agree. Let's move on to the next comment that we had then.
All right, last one. Please show a culvert under the driveway. It's there.
Yeah,
Culvert at the ditch. Oh, it is there. Even though the driveway isn't. Is that a culvert?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we just neglected to do the outline of the driveway. That's not on the property.
Okay.
That's it.
Yep.
Okay, can we get a motion?
Overall, I like this one. Move to approve?
second,
All in favor?
Thanks.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Great. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
that is
Your time.
approval without the black, garage door, right?
Right.
He agreed.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So
Who
I'll have the site plan changed to reflect those comments.
Great.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys, that was a long.
Sorry,
Yeah.
who seconded? Oh, well, who seconded? I was gonna ask.
I did.
Yeah, Bruce did.
Bruce,
Okay.
yeah, Bruce seconded.
All right.
All right, good job. Appreciate it.
New business?
So, I guess I'll have to get with Deanna and figure out what our next schedule for meeting next Thursday. Joel, did we have any new constructions for next Thursday?
I do have some, yes.
You do?
Yeah,
Stop it.
I know. I'm sorry. This is kind of, I think, after the end of July, it'll really, I mean, we will, it won't, because everyone's trying to get in. And our July 31st cutoff date for new submittals exists. So I think after July, that's going to end. I think just in the next 2 weeks here, we'll be pretty much done with the new construction submittals. I did have,
All right, so we're
yeah.
July
Go ahead.
29th at 9 a.m. Is that what you're thinking?
Say that again.
July 29th at 9 a.m. Is that what you're thinking for the next one?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I
That is-
know, I know.
That is not a regular scheduled meeting, you know, you're putting in an extra one.
Yeah.
And I will not be there, so
Oh, you won't?
nope. I will be driving to Colorado on that day.
Oh, I'll go with
Very
you.
nice.
You can Zoom and drive at the same time.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I should have things posted for you by Friday, Bruce, if you want to take a look and ahead of time and leave any comments.
Oh.
I did have, you know, there was one more I was going to ask is if you wanted to take a look at it today. It was a previous deferral. I know you kind of getting late on time here. It's been a long meeting. It was for 14 Sparrow. They came back last week, Wednesday, with a lot of updates and but totally your call.
Can you send it out and give everyone time to look at it, and then we could do it next Thursday?
Yeah, I'll put it on the agenda for next week.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay.
Well, next Thursday, just so everyone knows, I'm gonna have a house of grandkids here, so who knows what the meeting will be like. I could have kids puking on the carpet. All right, thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Hey,
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Keith,
Yes, sir.
what happened with Susie? Do you know?
We're still being recorded, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Hang on a sec here. I don't know. I can pause the recording.
Yeah, our official meeting's over, so we can just stop recording probably.
One moment here.
Yeah, you would think, but it still says recording, so I don't know.